The tangle of Christmas lights slipped from Alex Young's grasp, clattering onto the frosty driveway as his 7-year-old daughter Emma giggled from the porch. December wind bit through his worn flannel jacket, a reminder that winter in Portland didn't care about single dad budgets or broken furnaces. "Dad, you're supposed to catch them." Emma's laughter warmed him more than any coat could. "I'm trying, kiddo." Alex gathered the lights, checking for broken bulbs. "These old things have more knots than your hair after playground day." Truth was, decorating their modest rental home hadn't been in his budget this year. After being laid off from his construction management position in September, Alex had been cobbling together handyman jobs while applying everywhere that might value a decade of experience. The child support he received from Emma's mother helped, but only just enough to cover the basics. "Dad, look." Emma pointed excitedly down the street. "That lady needs help?" Alex turned to see a woman across the street struggling with her own Christmas decorations. She stood precariously on a ladder that wobbled with each movement, attempting to hang lights along her roofline. Even from a distance, Alex could tell she was doing it all wrong. "Stay on the porch, Em," he instructed, setting down the tangled mess of his own lights. "I'm just going to make sure that lady doesn't fall." As Alex crossed the street, he got a better look at the woman. She was wearing expensive-looking yoga pants and a cashmere sweater that seemed wildly impractical for outdoor decorating. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and despite the December chill, she seemed to be breaking a sweat. "Excuse me," Alex called out. "That ladder isn't positioned correctly. You're going to hurt yourself." The woman startled, nearly dropping her strand of lights. When she looked down at him, Alex was struck by her eyes warm brown with flecks of gold that caught the afternoon sun. "I'm beginning to realize that," she admitted with a sheepish smile. "The YouTube tutorial made this look much easier. I'm Alex. I live across the street." He gestured to his house. "I do construction work. Would you like some help?" She hesitated only briefly before nodding. "I'm Talia." "Talia Keller. And yes, please, before I break my neck trying to make my house look festive." As Talia carefully descended the ladder, Alex noticed she moved with a natural grace that contrasted with her decorating clumsiness. She was approximately his age, mid-30s, with a quiet confidence that intrigued him. "I just moved in last month," she explained, gesturing to the beautiful craftsman home. It was easily triple the size of Alex's rental. "I've been so busy with work that I haven't had time to decorate, and suddenly Christmas is 2 weeks away." "Dad, can I come help too?" Emma called from across the street. Alex waved her over after checking for cars. "This is my daughter, Emma. This is Miss Keller." "Please call me Talia," she said, smiling at Emma. "And thank you both for rescuing me from my decorating disaster." Emma beamed up at her. "We're experts. Daddy always makes our house the prettiest on the block." Alex felt his cheeks warm with embarrassment as Talia glanced across at his half-decorated rental with its patchy lawn and peeling paint. "Well, we're trying this year," he admitted. "Been a bit tight since the layoff." Something flickered in Talia's expression, not pity, but understanding. "Tell you what," she proposed. "If you'll help me get these lights up, I'll order us all pizza. I have zero decorating skills but excellent pizza ordering abilities." Emma bounced excitedly. "Can we, Dad? Please?" Alex couldn't remember the last time they'd ordered in. Every penny had been carefully budgeted since his layoff. "You've got yourself a deal," he agreed. For the next 2 hours, Alex repositioned Talia's ladder and demonstrated the proper way to hang lights. Emma happily sorted through ornaments for the small tree Talia had placed on her porch, chattering away about school and her upcoming holiday concert. Alex couldn't help but notice how Talia genuinely listened to his daughter, asking thoughtful questions and laughing at Emma's 7-year-old humor. When the pizza arrived, they sat on Talia's porch steps, admiring their handiwork as the sky darkened and the lights began to twinkle against the evening. "This is way better than I could have managed on my own," Talia admitted, taking a bite of pepperoni pizza. "I'd probably still be tangled in lights and crying by now," Alex laughed. "Happy to help. Emma and I are neighborhood Christmas light experts, right, Em?" Emma nodded enthusiastically, tomato sauce smeared across her chin. "Daddy can fix anything. He's the best fixer in the whole world." Talia studied Alex with curious eyes. "What kind of construction work do you do, Alex?" "I was a project manager for Westridge Construction until September," he explained, trying to keep the disappointment from his voice. "Now I pick up handyman jobs where I can find them while looking for something permanent. You know how it goes." "What about you?" he asked, trying to change the subject. "You mentioned being busy with work." Talia wiped her hands on a napkin. "I work in corporate restructuring," she said vaguely. "Lots of year-end reports and planning for next year right now." "That sounds important," Emma said, clearly impressed. "Sometimes it feels that way. Other times it just feels like a lot of meetings," Talia laughed. She looked at her watch. "Oh, speaking of which, I have a conference call with Tokyo in an hour." Alex stood quickly, gathering their paper plates. "We should get going then. Thanks for the pizza." "Wait," Talia said, reaching into her pocket. "I'd like to pay you for your help with the lights." Alex felt his pride stiffen. "That's really not necessary. The pizza was payment enough." "Please," she insisted. "You clearly know what you're doing, and I would have hired someone anyway." "Daddy doesn't take money for helping people," Emma stated matter-of-factly. "He says that's what neighbors do." Talia's expression softened as she looked from Emma to Alex. "Then how about this? I noticed your lights across the street aren't finished. Would you mind if I came over tomorrow to help? I should at least return the favor." Before Alex could formulate a polite refusal, Emma clapped her hands. "Yes, we have hot chocolate with tiny marshmallows." Alex found himself nodding. "If you're sure you have time, we usually finish decorating on Saturdays anyway." "Perfect. I'll be there around noon," Talia suggested. As they walked back to their house, Emma skipping ahead, Alex couldn't help but glance back. Talia stood on her porch, the lights they'd hung creating a golden halo around her. She gave a small wave before disappearing inside her beautiful home. "I like her, Dad," Emma declared as they crossed the threshold into their significantly more modest house. "She's pretty and nice, and didn't even care when I spilled pizza on her steps." "She is nice," Alex agreed, trying not to dwell on the way Talia's smile had made his heart race for the first time since his divorce 3 years ago. "But she's also very busy and probably has a lot of important things to do besides hang Christmas lights with us." The next morning, Alex woke early to tidy their small home. He knew it wasn't much the furniture was mismatched, the carpets worn, but it was clean and filled with Emma's artwork and photos. He'd worked hard to make it a home after Christina had left them for her yoga instructor and moved to Bali. At precisely noon, the doorbell rang and Emma raced to answer it. "You came," she exclaimed, pulling Talia inside. Talia stood in their living room, wearing jeans and a simple sweater, holding a large bakery box. "I brought cookies." "I can't bake to save my life, but the bakery down on Maple Street makes amazing ones." "Thank you," Alex said, taking the box. "You didn't have to bring anything." "I also brought these," Talia added, pulling out a small bag. "They're hooks that won't damage your gutters." "I noticed yesterday you were using the older style." Alex blinked in surprise. "That's really observant of you," Talia shrugged. "I pay attention to details. It's part of my job." For the next few hours, they worked together hanging lights along Alex's roofline and wrapping them around the porch pillars. Emma supervised from below, offering critical artistic direction. The afternoon passed in easy conversation, and Alex found himself sharing stories about his construction projects and Emma's school adventures. Talia listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions and sharing a few carefully selected anecdotes about her own work. "So you travel a lot?" Alex asked as they finished the last section of lights. Talia nodded. "Too much, honestly. Boston, Chicago, San Francisco last month alone." "Sounds exciting." "It can be," she admitted, but hotels start looking the same after a while. This is actually the first place that's felt like it could be home in a long time. When they finished, Emma insisted they have hot chocolate with tiny marshmallows, as promised. Sitting around the small kitchen table, Alex noticed how Talia fit so naturally into their space, laughing at Emma's jokes and helping wipe chocolate from her upper lip. "We're having a Christmas movie marathon tonight," Emma announced. "You should stay, Talia." Alex started to offer Talia an easy out, assuming she had better things to do on a Saturday night, but to his surprise, she checked her watch and nodded. "I'd love to, if it's okay with your dad. I don't have any plans tonight." Their movie marathon extended well past Emma's bedtime. After Alex tucked his daughter in, he returned to find Talia examining the family photos on his mantle. "She looks like you," Talia observed, pointing to Emma's school picture. "Poor kid," Alex joked, joining her by the fireplace. "She got my stubborn streak too." "That's not a bad thing," Talia said softly. "Determination gets you through the tough spots." Something in her tone made Alex wonder what tough spots she'd faced, but before he could ask, Talia's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and sighed. "I should go. Early meeting tomorrow." "On Sunday." "The business world never really sleeps," she said with a wry smile. "Thank you for letting me crash your movie night. It's been nice, normal." At the door, there was an awkward moment where neither seemed to know the proper goodbye. Eventually, Talia leaned forward and hugged him quickly. "I'd like to do this again sometime," she said. "If you want to." "I'd like that," Alex replied, surprised by how much he meant it. Over the next week, Talia became a regular visitor. She joined them for Emma's school holiday concert, applauding wildly when Emma's class sang Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. She brought over Chinese takeout one night when Alex mentioned he'd been working late on a bathroom remodel for a client. On another evening, she helped Emma make paper snowflakes to decorate the windows. What Alex found most refreshing was how Talia treated Emma. Unlike his ex-wife, who'd always seemed impatient with the messiness of childhood, Talia embraced Emma's endless energy and questions. She never talked down to her or dismissed her thoughts as childish. As Christmas approached, Alex found himself thinking about Talia more often than he cared to admit. There was still so much he didn't know about her. She spoke little about her work beyond vague references to meetings and reports. When he'd asked more specific questions, she'd skillfully redirected the conversation. 2 days before Christmas, Alex was hanging the last of the outdoor decorations when a sleek black car pulled into Talia's driveway. He watched as a man in a suit emerged, carrying several briefcases. Talia met him at the door, her posture suddenly formal and businesslike, a stark contrast to the relaxed woman who'd helped Emma build a gingerbread house the night before. Later that evening, when Talia came over with a box of Christmas ornaments she thought Emma might like for their tree, Alex couldn't help but ask, "Important meeting today?" Talia hesitated before answering. "Just some work documents I needed to review before the holidays." "You know, for someone who works in corporate restructuring, you're pretty vague about what you actually do," Alex said lightly, though curiosity had been building for weeks. "It's not very interesting," Talia deflected. "Lots of spreadsheets and profit margins. Try me." "I find lots of things interesting." Talia looked uncomfortable for the first time since he'd met her. "Alex," the moment was interrupted by Emma bounding into the room, eager to show Talia the Christmas list she'd finalized for Santa. The conversation shifted, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Talia was keeping something significant from him. Christmas Eve arrived with a dusting of snow that transformed their neighborhood into a winter wonderland. Alex had invited Talia to join their traditional Christmas Eve dinner, nothing fancy. Just spaghetti and meatballs, which had become their holiday tradition after his divorce. Talia arrived carrying beautifully wrapped presents for both Alex and Emma, plus a homemade apple pie that she admitted she'd had considerable help making from a YouTube tutorial. "It's probably terrible," she warned as she set it on the counter. I'm sure it's perfect, Alex assured her, though he noticed the crust was indeed a little lopsided. Dinner was filled with laughter and stories. Emma could barely contain her excitement about Christmas morning, and Talia seemed genuinely touched to be included in their celebration. After Emma was finally tucked into bed, with strict instructions to stay there until at least 7 a.m., Alex and Talia sat on the couch with glasses of wine, the Christmas tree lights casting a warm glow over the room. "Thank you for including me tonight," Talia said quietly. "I usually spend Christmas alone or at some corporate event." "No family?" Alex asked. Talia shook her head. "My parents died when I was in college. Car accident, no siblings." "I'm sorry," Alex said, understanding why she might have avoided the topic before. "It was a long time ago," she replied. "But it's why I work so much, I think. Easier than coming home to an empty house." Alex moved closer, taking her hand. "Well, you're welcome here anytime. Emma adores you." "Just Emma?" Talia asked, her eyes meeting his. Alex felt his heart race. "No, not just Emma." The kiss that followed was gentle at first, then deepened with an intensity that surprised them both. When they finally pulled apart, Talia's eyes were bright with emotion. "I need to tell you something," she began, but Alex's phone rang, interrupting the moment. It was his former boss from Westridge Construction, apologizing for calling so late on Christmas Eve, but excited to offer Alex his job back with a promotion and raise starting after the new year. The company had secured a major contract and needed his expertise. "That's amazing," Talia exclaimed when he shared the news. "It's such a relief," Alex admitted. "I've been worried about how long I could keep up with the mortgage and Emma's activities on handyman jobs." "This calls for a celebration," Talia said, raising her wine glass. "To new beginnings." They talked late into the night, making plans for a proper date after Christmas. When Talia finally left, promising to return for Christmas dinner the next day, Alex felt lighter than he had in months. Christmas morning was a whirlwind of torn wrapping paper and Emma's delighted squeals. Among her gifts was a science kit from Talia that Emma declared was the best present ever. Talia arrived for Christmas dinner carrying more gifts, practical ones for Alex, including a new tool belt and winter work gloves. As they sat down to eat, Alex couldn't help but marvel at how natural it felt having her there, as if she'd always been part of their family celebrations. After dinner, while Emma was absorbed in her new toys, Talia pulled Alex into the kitchen. "There's something I need to tell you," she said, her expression serious. "I haven't been entirely honest about my work." Alex felt a flicker of apprehension. "Okay. I don't just work in corporate restructuring," she continued. "I'm the CEO of Keller Industries. We specialize in corporate turnarounds and acquisitions." Alex blinked, trying to process this information. "Keller Industries, the company that just bought the Riverside Development Project," Talia nodded. "Yes, and that's not coincidence. Westridge Construction is handling that project, which is why your former boss called you last night. I may have had something to do with that." Alex stepped back, confusion clouding his features. "You got me my job back. Why wouldn't you tell me who you really were?" "At first, I just enjoyed being treated like a normal person," Talia explained. "When people learn what I do, they either want something from me or treat me differently. But then I got to know you and Emma, and I didn't know how to bring it up without it seeming like I'd been lying." "So you have been lying," Alex said, trying to keep his voice down so Emma wouldn't hear. "All those times I talked about struggling to find work, you could have helped but chose not to." "It wasn't like that," Talia insisted. "I looked into Westridge as soon as you mentioned them. They're a solid company that hit a rough patch. The Riverside project was already in negotiation when I met you. I just made sure your name came up when they were staffing it." Alex ran a hand through his hair, unsure how to feel. "I don't know if I should thank you or be angry that you kept this from me." "Be angry if you need to," Talia said quietly. "But please believe that my feelings for you and Emma are genuine." That night you helped me with my Christmas lights was the first time in years someone saw me as just a person, not a CEO or a portfolio. Alex looked at her, seeing vulnerability beneath her usual confidence. Why tell me now? Because I'm falling in love with you, she admitted. And I don't want secrets between us anymore. Before Alex could respond, Emma burst into the kitchen. Dad, it's snowing again. Can we go make snow angels? The tension broke as they both laughed at her excitement. Sure, kiddo, Alex said. Get your coat. As Emma raced to find her winter gear, Alex turned back to Talia. We're not done with this conversation. I know, she said. I'll answer any questions you have, I promise. The three of them spent the next hour in the yard, making snow angels and having an impromptu snowball fight that left them all breathless and laughing. Watching Talia help Emma build a tiny snowman, Alex felt his anger beginning to fade. Whatever her reasons for keeping her identity secret, her joy with his daughter was unmistakably genuine. Later, after Emma had gone to bed exhausted from Christmas excitement, Alex and Talia sat at his kitchen table with mugs of hot cocoa. So, CEO of Keller Industries, Alex began. That's quite a revelation, Talia nodded. I built the company after my parents died, used the insurance money as startup capital and worked around the clock for years. Now we employ over 500 people. And that man who came to your house the other day, my CFO. We were finalizing year-end bonuses. Alex took a sip of his cocoa. I'm not angry that you're successful, Talia. I'm angry that you didn't trust me enough to tell me. It wasn't about trust, she said. It was about fear. I've had relationships end because men couldn't handle my success or only wanted me for my connections. I wanted to know if what we had was real. And is it? Real, I mean, Talia reached across the table for his hand. The most real thing I've felt in years. When I'm with you and Emma, I'm not thinking about quarterly projections or market analyses. I'm just happy. Alex considered her words, turning them over in his mind. I need you to promise me something. Anything. No more secrets. And no pulling strings for me professionally without discussing it first. I appreciate the job, but I've worked hard to build my reputation. I want to succeed on my own merits. I promise, Talia said solemnly. And for what it's worth, your former boss was already planning to call you. I just suggested they do it sooner rather than later. Alex smiled despite himself. Always the CEO making things happen. Not always, she countered. Sometimes I'm just a woman who can't hang Christmas lights properly. They laughed together, the tension finally dissipating. I have a New Year's Eve party at my company headquarters downtown, Talia said after a moment. Would you and Emma like to come? It's family-friendly until 9, then gets more adult-oriented. I don't know if we'd fit in with the corporate crowd, Alex said hesitantly. You'd be with me, Talia assured him, and I'd be proud to introduce you to everyone. A week later, Alex adjusted his tie nervously as they rode the elevator to the top floor of the Keller Industries building. Emma, wearing her favorite party dress, bounced excitedly beside him. Talia, stunning in a deep blue evening gown, squeezed his hand reassuringly. Everyone's going to love you both, she whispered. The party was elegant but welcoming. To Alex's surprise, many of Talia's employees had brought their children, and Emma quickly found playmates near the elaborate dessert table. Talia introduced Alex to her executive team without pretense, proudly explaining his expertise in construction management. As midnight approached, the children were escorted to a separate room for a movie marathon with supervision, leaving the adults to celebrate the new year more formally. Talia led Alex onto a balcony overlooking the city lights. Happy? She asked. Surprised, he admitted. You're different here, more commanding, but still you, CEO mode, she said with a small smile, but I'm learning to leave it at the office more. Inside, the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. I have something to tell you, Alex said quickly. More secrets, Talia teased. I'm in love with you, he said simply. CEO or neighbor or Christmas light disaster doesn't matter. I love who you are. 3, 2, 1. Their New Year's kiss was everything Talia had planned for and nothing she could have anticipated. As cheers erupted inside, they remained on the balcony, wrapped in each other's arms. I love you too, she whispered against his lips. 6 months later, Alex stood in Talia's backyard, their backyard, now watching as Emma helped plant flowers in the garden. The moving boxes were mostly unpacked, their two households slowly merging into one family home. Talia joined him, slipping an arm around his waist. Having second thoughts about moving in together? Not a single one, he assured her, pulling her closer. Though I'm still getting used to the size of this place. We could always downsize, Talia offered, as she had several times before. Alex shook his head. Emma loves the yard and her new room, and I've made peace with the fact that my girlfriend outturns me by a substantial margin. Fiancé, Talia corrected, holding up her left hand where a simple but elegant engagement ring caught the afternoon sunlight. And speaking of earnings, how's the new position? Alex had recently been promoted to operations director at Westridge, entirely on his own merits according to his bosses. Challenging but good. We're ahead of schedule on the Riverside project. Dad, Talia, look, Emma called, proudly showing off the sunflower she'd planted. I did it all by myself. They walked over to admire her handiwork, a family united not by circumstances or convenience, but by choice and love. You know, Talia said quietly as Emma returned to her gardening, I never planned any of this. When I moved here, I was just looking for a quiet place away from work. And instead, you got tangled in Christmas lights and rescued by your handyman neighbor, Alex teased. Best mistake I ever made, Talia said, rising on her toes to kiss him. Though I still maintain those Christmas lights were defective. Sure they were, Alex laughed. Maybe this year I'll let you try hanging them yourself again. Or, Talia suggested, we could hang them together. Make a new tradition. As Emma ran over to show them another horticultural achievement, Alex couldn't help but marvel at how completely his life had changed in less than a year. From struggling single dad to part of a loving family, all because he'd offered to help a neighbor with Christmas lights, never knowing she was a CEO planning their New Year's kiss.